This day was about the families and the heroes of 9/11.
Hundreds of first responders were killed in the terror attacks, including 343 firefighters. 9 News anchor Brendan Keefe has been in New York City for the anniversary, and he's live now at the World Trade Center site. Brendan?
Carol and Clyde, an emotional day here. It's amazing to think we still have not heard all of the stories of September 11th, even 10 years later. They are, by and large, stories of bravery and proof that the day of our greatest tragedy was also our finest hour. This is the story of just one of those heroes.
The cops and firefighters of Cincinnati's Emerald Society play the pipes and drums in honor of New York firefighter Stephen Siller.
The three of us watched, the horror of that day. And sometime during that day, my brother Frank said, I think we just lost our brother.
George Siller describes the moment he and his brothers watched the Twin Towers falling, fearing their baby brother was inside.
At 8.5, my father died, and at 10, my mother died. For Stephen was 8.5 and 10. So we brought him up. He was our son. We never thought he could make it in time. We kept saying, there's so much traffic in New York. He's coming from Brooklyn. How's he going to get there? And we didn't know he'd run through the tunnel.
Stephen had heard the call on his scanner. He turned around and went right back to his Brooklyn firehouse. But the truck and the firefighters were already gone.
When we turned his truck around, got his gear, and he was prohibited from going into the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. And once he got to that point, he got out and he ran with his gear on.
All the way to the burning trade towers, Stephen ran with his FDNY gear. More than 2 miles. The father of 5 was never found.
You got to be kidding me. You know, he had to grow up without parents, and now his kids got to grow up without a dad. It's just not right.
The brothers decided to do something in Stephen's honor. The Tunnel to Towers race retraces Stephen's steps from Brooklyn through the tunnel to the World Trade Center. Many firefighters run the race in their full gear, just like Stephen did on 9/11, to help people.
We've helped burn centers, orphan children, the military.
And the military has responded. There's even a Tunnel to Towers race in Kabul, Afghanistan.
2 nights before 9/11, Steve and I were watching Band of Brothers. We're sitting there watching, and I turned to him and said, Steve, they just don't make heroes like that anymore. Those days are gone. Well, he proved me wrong 2 days later.
Stephen has sent angels to help. Celebrities hold benefit concerts. 9/11 Mayor Rudy Giuliani is a regular at family events. And Randy Payne, a Kroger employee from Cincinnati, brings his family to the race every year in New York to volunteer.
He's just such a caring person. His family's so caring. And that's the way I feel everybody in Cincinnati, I'm sure, is good-hearted Americans. There's so many good people in America, and it's so touching to see how they care, and they don't forget.
We will never forget.
Our special thanks to the Cincinnati Emerald Society Pipes and Drums, our local cops and firefighters. You're going to hear the entire Amazing Grace and a retrospective at the end of this newscast. The Stephen Siller Tunnel to Towers race takes place here in New York City 2 weeks from today, but I've already talked with some folks back in the tri-state who are considering starting a race in Cincinnati. Wouldn't that be something? Right now, more than 50 cities have a race, and the Siller brothers actually want to get to 343 cities. The number of firefighters killed here on September 11th. Guys.
I would think, Brendan, we would want to get on that bandwagon. Brendan Keefe reporting live for us this evening from New York City. Thank you, sir.
Some excellent reporting. And Papo's